Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to this tutorial right here where I'll teach you how to figure out whether the checkbox is checked or not using JavaScript. We have a very simple form over here, really simple. This form actually does nothing right now. It is simply just an empty form, and I will show you the code right here. Here you have a div because I don't want to start typing this whole thing because this is not the main purpose of this tutorial. So this is the main div wrapper, and we have a simple div right here, which is some kind of title asking what subject do you like, and we have several of these divs that wrap the labels in there. So we have, as you can see right here, there is physics, chemistry, and math, and a button, a submit button. So we take a look at that real quick. So this is the div which is wrapping the label, and in the label there is an input, a very simple input, which is given a class fav subject. This class could be any class, and here we name the type of this input, which is a checkbox. Of course you have to write that, and this is the value. The value right here is written physics, which is as the label says, but this doesn't mean that they have to be the same. This label could be a different thing, and this value here could be a different thing. It doesn't really matter. So as you can see right here, let me just close this and show you real quick. As you can see right here, this is exactly as this one over here is exactly as this one over here. The only difference is in the value and the label text right here. So you could name this anyhow you want. For example, here physics, I could say physics AAA, and chemistry BBB, and math CCC. It doesn't really matter, and this value, and these values could still remain the same. The only thing that is going to change is right here on your form. But you can tell that this chemistry BBB is already selected by default, because here on the checked, I made it default to be checked because there is something else I want to show you later. So right here, this is not checked. This is not checked, but this one by default it is checked. So let's forget about these CCC, BBB, and AA, and let's get back to how it used to be. So this is how it was in the first place. Now our main goal here is to click this submit button, and once we click this submit button, it should be able to tell us which label was, which checkbox was checked and which one was not. So right under, before your body closing tag, be very careful, not right here, because if you write your script tag right here, your script tag may not run for some reasons, just because your other HTML tags have not been loaded yet. So I'm gonna cut this, and I'll put it somewhere here. But well, if you're using jQuery, you could still be able to put your content even right here, or even on the head tag, or even using this JavaScript, you could be able to wait until the window is loaded. But I don't even want to be bothered doing that right now. So let's take a look at this. How do we get this button here, the submit button? How do we get this in the JavaScript world? Anyways, to show you that this is really working right here, I would go over here and go console.log hello there. Then you will see that this is working. So to see the console content, we have to check it from here. If I refresh, you can see right here it's written hello there. So now that means we're good to go. Now let's get this button in our script over here. So how do we get it? So we say document dot get element by ID, because this is its ID. And what ID are we looking for? This my button. Then I could simply decide to put this value in a variable, but I don't find any. Okay, let me just put it in a variable anyways. Let me just show you. Let's say btn. This is the button that we just got. So what do we want to do with this btn? We want to say btn dot add event listener. And what event listener do we want to add on this? It is a click event listener. And when we click, we want to execute this function right here. So in here, let's do this. Let's say console log and say clicked right here. With a semicolon right there. Let's refresh this page. And right now, every time we click, you see, it says clicked right here. And when we continue clicking, the more we click is the more it responds to that event. Okay, cool. That means now we can be able to, we can be able to detect the click events. What else do we want to do? Have you noticed that these input labels, these input, the checkbox, we have all given them the same class name, fav subject, and fav subject. The reason to why we give them the same class name is that way we can be able to find these items or these inputs a bit easier in our JavaScript. So what do? We need to come over here and start selecting these variables. Let's say now, we need to find these checkboxes in here. So the first thing that we need to do here, let's say I will call them checkboxes. Let's see how we get them. Document dot query selector. Now we have two query selectors here. The first query selector will only select the first item. I'm talking about this one over here. If we use this one, it will only select the first. If we say query selector this way, we can select by class name using query selector. If we say query selector this way, it will only select the first checkbox that has appeared. But that's not what we want to do. What we want to do is to select all the query selector. We need to select all the items that have appeared. So what do we want to select? We want to select by class name. It has to have a dot right here. So we say query selector all. So that means just like the way we select the CSS items. Okay, so right here, let's try to console.log checkboxes and let's see what do we get in here. If I refresh here, if I need to save it first, and when I refresh right here, if I click this button, you can see right here we have all this stuff that we need. But mind you one thing, they came over here in form of an array. So if that means there are three items. This is the first one, this is the second one, and this is the third one. And you can see that they highlight in my HTML over there every time I hover over here. So if I open this one over here, it will show me different properties or attributes that are related to the first item and so on and so on. So what else do we need to do? Right here, we simply need to loop through all these items over here. Because this is an array, as you can tell over here, it has a length over here. So we can use a for loop to loop through all of these items. So if I say for var I equals to 0 to I equals to, that means here these checkboxes, they have length. Checkboxes dot length. I can come over here and say I plus plus. If I go over here, if I move this statement and put it in here and say these checkboxes show me the item. If I come over, if I save this and refresh, every time I do it, it will show me different items over here. And you can tell that right now it's only showing me the HTML items. Kind of HTML. But the best way to get what we need, we'll type dir. That means console.dir. If I refresh over here on the Chrome and I submit, it can be able to show me exactly what I'm looking for right here. So if I go over here, I can see all the attributes that we need. What attribute are we looking for? There is an attribute called checked. You can see right here, this is true for the second item. And for the first item, if I go over here on the checked item, on the checked attribute, it is false. So I can simply just go over here and maybe just go and say checked. And let's save it. And if I refresh over here, and if I print this, you see there is false, true, and false. If I go over here, if I say physics, if I check that one, if I print that, you see there is true, true, false. So what else can we do here? We can also get the value, like what value is selected. So I can go over here because it has a property called value. If I come over here and refresh, if I click that one, you can see there is false physics. Let me just do it this way. If I go over here, it's okay. We could just leave it like that. We say right here console.log. Let's just format it a bit this way and this way. So this is the top and this is the bottom, just for you to see a bit clear. If I do this way, you see the top, bottom. That means we have the false for physics, and we have true for chemistry, and we have false for math. And if we keep going over here, if we say we select physics and we select math and submit, you can see that they show the respective values. And if we uncheck chemistry and submit there, you can see we have all the values. So here I can do whatever I want to do in here. Let's say I want to store these values somewhere. So I can simply just go over here and say var selected items. So what are the selected items? I want to put these in this array. So I can simply just come over here and say if. So what if is selected? So checked something something. So I'll go over here. If something is checked, and what do? I come over here and say selected items dot push. What do I want to push? I want to push the values in it. So I can come over here and say push in the values, and let me just get rid of this for now. I got rid of it completely, and let me print the checked values right here. So after for loop, I can come over here and say console.log this much. All right, let's see what's up. So if I come over here and say, you see, now only chemistry selected. Now if I uncheck chemistry and submit, so nothing is selected. If I come over and say physics, math, if I submit, you can see right here it is only physics, math, and if I go over here and check chemistry as well, you can see physics, chemistry, math, they are all selected. So this is how you do it. The code is quite simple, as you can tell right there. You simply select a button, you bind a click event on it, and this doesn't necessarily need to be click. It could be any event that you want to bind on your HTML element. Then you go over here, continue selecting all of them, and you'll be good to go. So pretty much like that. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Goodbye.